Man, I screwed up royally a couple of weeks ago. Biggest screw up I've ever had on this channel and in music. I was counting down the top 10 songs in 1976, and I left out one of the greatest songs in classic rock history. Definitely a lapse in judgment and in memory. It doesn't happen often, but man, never messed up this bad. But here's the thing. The song I messed up with, it would have easily been the number one song of any other year, but in 1976, it was competing with Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. So this got me thinking, what is the greatest song in classic rock history? And that set me on a week-long quest for rock immortality. I dug into an elite group of songs that not only ruled radio and soundtracked our lives, but they've become the definition of rock itself. For this episode, I've assembled the ultimate musical showdown. I got a list of 11 of the most legendary classic rock standards to echo across the airwaves. But the question is, which one deserves to be number one? What song is the GOAT of classic rock? Just talking classic rock. My 11 candidates are special. I mean, there's the song that saved rock from a complete disco takeover, or maybe the track that got so big it was banned from being played in guitar shops around the world. You know what I'm talking about. Or the one that has the greatest note hit by a singer ever. Let's get ready to rumble. It's coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time, especially today. You know, if you remember this...
It's a very big fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
You're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now. Click the white button. Also, check out our podcast on Apple and Spotify. Got all our episodes and interviews there. All right, so a couple of weeks ago, I'm working on the countdown for the top 10 songs of 1976. And man... I made a huge mistake. I didn't realize it until it was too late and I'd released a video. I omitted Boston's More Than a Feeling from the list. The thing is, More Than a Feeling was actually released in September 76. It peaked at number 5 on Christmas Day in the same year. So I actually gave the number one spot of 76 to Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, which was definitely deserving. But I started thinking either one of these songs could easily have been number one in any year. And that started me down a rabbit hole. And ever since then, I've been trying to figure out what is the greatest classic rock song of all time. So far, it's been a question that I haven't been able to answer definitively. Just too many legendary tracks. But the good news is, it's a matter of debate. And I've actually narrowed it down to 11 songs. From here on out, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to make the case for each of these 11 songs, examining everything from chart stats to record sales to all-time radio plays to streaming numbers to pop culture impact and each song's legacy over the last 60 years up to now. After I break all that down, I'm going to rank them based on all that criteria. But I want to know from you which one deserves the title, the GOAT of classic rock. Okay, since we have a lot to cover, let's get right into it. So having said all of that, I'm going to kick off the competition by making the case for Bohemian Rhapsody. You know, Queen was already a band known for pushing boundaries when they dropped that bombshell in 75. I mean, their fourth album, A Night at the Opera, was their most ambitious project yet, boasting a studio budget that reportedly made it the most expensive album made at that time. I think Hysteria has since passed it up. But
I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me.
But when you put your album out and your lead single is Bohemian Rhapsody, which was released as the lead single in October of 75, nobody had ever heard anything like it. A 6-minute epic with no chorus, multi-tracked operatic vocals, and a thunderous hard rock section right in the middle. It should have been unplayable on radio, and according to Freddie Mercury, a lot of people slammed Bohemian Rhapsody in the 70s, including the label, which wouldn't release it. So Freddie Mercury got a DJ to release it without the knowledge of the label. Pretty cool. And of course, it blew up. Everybody wanted to hear it. The phone lines went crazy, and it became a massive hit, making Freddie Mercury the ultimate rebel to leak his own song to a DJ. He always thought this song was incomparable. He knew it. He challenged his critics to name one group that's done an operatic single, a rock opera single that went to number one in the UK and stayed there for 9 straight weeks.
Just killed a man.
Here in the United States, where Queen had so far charted only one single, which was Killer Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody peaked at number 9, but that was nothing compared to what would happen after that. 17 years later, in 1992, it made a massive comeback powered by a powder blue AMC Pacer and 4 headbangers from Aurora, Illinois. Wayne's World gave the song a whole new life, a whole new generation, and it just spawned from there. When Mike Myers and Dana Carvey lip-synced their way through the opening piano lines, it reignited Queen's American legacy, and it actually sent the song hurtling to number 2 on the Hot 100 in the middle of grunge. This is the only song that's hit number 1 3 different times, by the way. And then came the 2018 biopic Bohemian Rhapsody, which earned over 900 million worldwide. Took the song to number 1 again. This movie, of course, introduced it to every generation.
Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me go.
And in terms of raw numbers, I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody is hard to pin down. It's been streamed almost 2.5 billion times just on YouTube and Spotify. In 2021, it was certified diamond in the US, over 10 million units sold of just the single, not even counting the album. Today, it continues to stake its claim as not just one of Queen's best, but one of the most enduring rock tracks ever. So where do you think this one ranks? It might be number 1. We'll see. Okay, so moving to our next song. It's by the band who epitomizes Southern rock swagger. And man, it's tough enough to figure out which of their 2 classic rock standards to include. And I think it's only fair to submit 1 song per artist here. So with Skynyrd, I had to go with either Freebird or Sweet Home Alabama. I'm going to give the edge to Sweet Home, which is supported by more streams and plays.
Sweet home Alabama.
Even though Freebird is legendary in concert, everybody calls it out. I mean, Leonard Skynyrd built their sound on a triple guitar attack. And by the time they dropped their second album, Second Helping, in April of '74, they'd already nailed Freebird. But with Sweet Home Alabama, released as a single that June, that made them classic rock heavyweights for sure. Sweet Home Alabama became Leonard Skynyrd's first top 10 hit, and it went to number 8. I mean, the song's opening line, Turn It Up, it's practically a commandment in rock and roll. Turn it up. And that unmistakable riff, I mean, it's a piece of American muscle, built for tailgates and backyard barbecues. And though Sweet Home Alabama is synonymous with Southern pride, it's been blasted from every classic rock station from coast to coast. And as far as pop culture goes, it's shown up everywhere from Forrest Gump to Con Air, and it was famously sampled by Kid Rock and All Summer Long.
And she even showed me how to dance.
A bunch of idiots dancing on a plane to a song made famous by a band that died in a plane crash.
Song has, of course, never left radio. It remains one of the most streamed rock songs of all time and continues to chart on digital platforms as well. Year after year, it's the song. In fact, Sweet Home Alabama has passed 1.5 billion streams. And if you're looking for the definitive live version, look no further than Skynyrd's 1976 performance at the Nebworth Festival, with 120,000 fans watching in the English countryside. And the band brought their southern stomp to an international crowd, and with all 3 guitars locked in, Ronnie strutting in front, it was the sound of Alabama, louder than ever, going global. All right, next on our countdown, I gotta go with Floyd. Speaking of bands that could have had 4 or 5 songs in this list, let's talk about Pink Floyd. They had so many classics that could have been here. They're so expansive. I mean, I could have gone with Money or Wish You Were Here or Another Brick in the Wall or Time. But as brilliant as all those tracks are, I feel like I gotta go with Comfortably Numb from The Wall. Of course, anchored by Roger Waters' conceptual ambitions and David Gilmour's soul-piercing guitar work. The Wall is a rock opera chronicling the emotional isolation of a disillusioned rock star. The Wall was an ambitious, often bleak masterpiece that captured the collapse of communication and insanity. And man, Comfortably Numb was its aching emotional core for sure.
Is there anybody in there?
The Wall itself spun off multiple singles. There was Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, which hit number 1. There was Run Like Hell. Comfortably Numb was released in the UK as the album's final single in June of 1980. And though it didn't chart, it didn't really matter. I mean, over time, Comfortably Numb has become one of the most beloved and requested songs in the Pink Floyd catalog. I mean, Waters' verses drip with cold detachment, while Gilmour answers with warmth. It's as perfect of a contrast of light and dark as there's ever been in music, period. I mean, Gilmour also unleashes one of the best, and I mean best, guitar solos in rock history. More on that in another program. The contrast here, it's devastating. I mean, for a song professing numbness, it is ironically all feels. Comfortably Numb is a moment of beautiful surrender. And that aching duality is why the song keeps resurfacing, including Scorsese's 2006 crime thriller, The Departed, to great effect. I love how they use it there. Its dreamy atmosphere and introspective lyrics have become the go-to soundtrack for disconnection and loss. The structure is just cinematic, a slow burn that erupts into catharsis, and it practically begs for big screens in stadiums, drenched in light. And this despite never being a top 10 hit. I mean, Comfortably Numb became a mainstay of FM radio and live set lists and streaming playlists. It's quietly amassed over 750 million streams on YouTube and Spotify. Pink Floyd didn't need a charting single here. They built something that lives on emotion and performance, not sales figures. I think it'd have 3 times the plays if it wasn't such a mood track. Comfortably Numb, it's a moment when time just stood still. So this next one is a no-brainer. You knew it was going to be on this list. It's a song that really has no equal. Stairway to Heaven.
He's buying the stairway to heaven.
By 1971, Led Zeppelin were already rock gods, but Stairway to Heaven made them the stuff of myth and legend. The British quartet of Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, and John Bonham had stormed into the 70s with a mix of blues thunder and explosive hard rock. Their untitled 4th album dropped in November of 71, completely changing the game, and Stairway was the centerpiece. Stairway to Heaven also never released as a single, not even during the band's heyday. A strategic move that actually drove up album sales and airplay. But despite that, it became one of the most requested songs on FM radio, and in so doing became the most played rock song in classic rock radio history. It helped propel Led Zeppelin forward to over 37 million copies sold worldwide, and counting. Is still going.
There's a feeling I get.
Few songs carry the mythic weight of Stairway to Heaven. It's been called the greatest rock anthem. It's been called the rock anthem to end all rock anthems, dissected and debated like scripture. The song's progression from delicate acoustic finger-picking to an earth-shaking crescendo just feels like a spiritual ascent every time. Add in Robert Plant's cryptic lyrics and Jimmy Page's fiery solo, and there's no doubt you got the blueprint for the ultimate rock epic. It's a song so steeped in mystery, nobody knows what the hell it means, not even its writer. It became such a rite of passage for guitar players that it was eventually banned from being played in music stores. Of course, immortalized in Wayne's World with a no stairway sign. Second time Wayne's World comes up.
No stairway. Denied.
Plant himself has both embraced and distanced himself from the song over the years, calling it a lovely piece of music, but one he hesitated to revisit. And again, him saying he doesn't even know what his own lyrics meant. Still, for fans and musicians alike, Stairway has long been the holy grail. Mysterious and mesmerizing and loaded with meaning. I mean, his cultural fingerprints are everywhere, including on Heart's epic tribute at the Kennedy Center honors that brought Robert Plant to tears and Jimmy Page smiling from ear to ear. Stairway is so ingrained in the musical consciousness that for some, it is classic rock. And even after years of exposure and 1 billion plus streams later, it still somehow retains its power, like an old spell that never stopped working. And really, everybody has their own experience with Stairway to Heaven. It's that song that's passed from generation to generation to generation more than any other song in classic rock. This might be the number one. We'll have to see. All right, it's time to cover the track that inspired this entire episode. Talking about Boston's More Than a Feeling. You know, when Boston's debut album arrived on August 25th, 1976, it came out of nowhere, to what it seemed. And that wasn't far from the truth. I mean, it had been crafted way out of the limelight in Tom Scholz's basement. A total DIY project. And yet the record changed rock radio forever. More Than a Feeling was released as the band's debut single at a time when rock was under fire. I mean, disco was dominating the charts, and radio stations were pivoting towards disco-centric playlists. Even artists were doing it. This surge in popularity caused many of the rock faithful to feel that rock was being pushed aside or watered down in favor of more commercial, club-friendly fare. But you know what? When Boston dropped More Than a Feeling, it was like a rallying cry. Released as a single in September of '76, the song climbed to number 5 on Christmas Day that same year, and it helped propel Boston to record-breaking sales. The album became the best-selling debut in U.S. history at the time, and it struck a balance between reflective longing and electric euphoria. Thanks in no small part to Scholz's sonic genius and Brad Delp's sky-high vocals, it became an instant FM radio fixture. Even decades later, it's still one of the most spun tracks on classic rock radio. Truly, no singer living on this planet, then or now, could hit that perfect G5 so effortlessly, so powerfully, or as perfectly as Brad Delp. For my money, he's the greatest singer in rock history if you dial it down to this one song. This anthem has soundtracked everything from Scrubs to Daisy Jones and the Six, instantly evoking a nostalgic high for multiple generations. It even built the DNA of Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit with over 860 million total streams and counting, which will only grow with Gen Z starting to discover it and pushing that up. Boston's genius, More Than a Feeling, keeps riding that perfect wave of nostalgia. It helped define the arena rock sound, not just through its arrangement, but through Scholz's groundbreaking home recording technique, setting a new standard for what a self-made rock record could sound like, or should sound like, for that matter. More Than a Feeling is one of those rare songs that always feels like it's been part of the atmosphere. All right, for my next contender, I'm going the boys from Jersey, Bon Jovi with Living on a Prayer. Now, there's a reason why it's the most overplayed song in history. Currently is the most played song across classic rock radio. So by 1986, Bon Jovi had gone from New Jersey bar band to rising stars, but man, Living on a Prayer is where they began storming stadiums. It was the breakout single from their third album, Slippery When Wet. It was released in August of '86, written by John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, and hitmaker Desmond Child. The song, of course, told the story of Tommy and Gina, two working-class lovers clinging to hope. If they were halfway there, they're probably there by now, back in 86 at least. Living on a Prayer was released as the second single from Slippery. The first in the year anthem shot to number 1 on the Hot 100 and was stuck there for 4 weeks. It became Bon Jovi's signature song, and it helped Slippery When Wet become one of the biggest selling albums of the 80s. And now, nearly 40 years later, Living on a Prayer still detonates crowds the moment that talk box rings in. It's amassed 3.3 billion combined streams, making it one of the most consumed rock songs in digital history, at least. Certified triple platinum 2013, it's since sold more than 13 million copies. With almost 3.5 billion streams, it's right there with Bohemian Rhapsody and another song, which we're going to cover next, to have that many streams. So it's winning in that regard. All right, next up, I've got that song I was talking about, another one that's got over 3 billion plays, Don't Stop Believe My Journey.
Don't stop believing.
Journey was clearly on their way when they dropped Escape in July of 81. I mean, singles like Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin' and Any Way You Want It had already broken the top 25 before then. But, Escape took things to the next level. It had 5 amazing singles, 3 that reached the top 10 on the Hot 100, and Don't Stop Believin' was one of them. Barely. It was released as a single in October 81 and went to number 9. I mean, that's good, don't get me wrong, but really at the time it was just another hit in Journey's catalog. In fact, Open Arms and Who's Crying Now, both from the same album, charted better, going to number 2 and number 4 respectively. Now, really at this point, there wasn't much to suggest that Don't Stop Believin' was destined to become Journey's signature song. But with Steve Perry's skyscraping vocals, Jonathan Cain's now iconic piano intro and idea for the song, the words, and Neil Sean's tight guitar work, it was a perfect storm of melodic rock.
Just a small town girl.
The song is uniquely structured for sure. I mean, the song builds without hitting the chorus until the very end. The guitar solo is right up front. Plus, it captured the wide-eyed optimism of the early 80s perfectly, with a story about small-town dreams, big city lights. And as the decades passed, its momentum would only build. Like an avalanche coming down the mountain, man, from sports stadiums to television finales. Don't Stop Believin', it just kept getting bigger and bigger. From its use on the series finale for Sopranos to its use in Glee, which just blew it up. It was awarded the biggest rock song ever by Forbes back in 2024. Decades after its release, it re-entered the charts. Since 2007, digital sales and streaming platforms have given Don't Stop Believin' an afterlife the few songs can match. It's actually now the biggest selling digital rock song of the 20th century. It's got over 3 billion combined streams, like I said.
Don't stop believing.
Okay, next up, I've got a band that could have 5 songs on this list, another one. I'm talking about AC/DC. Back in Black, Thunderstruck, You Shook Me All Night Long. Those were all contenders. That for me fall in line after Highway to Hell. I mean, when Highway to Hell hit, the band's raw power finally got the polish it needed to break worldwide. With producer Mutt Lange tightening the screws, their sound just got leaner, it got meaner, and it got more explosive. The title track came roaring in like a freight train from the underworld, anchored by Angus Young's blazing riff and Bon Scott's Devil May Care snarl. It was pure rock fury. Said Angus about it, and I quote, "We were on the highway to hell. It was a joke, really. We were on the road a lot. We were just living the rock and roll lifestyle." Of course, a lot of people think it's Highway Highway to Hell was released as the album's lead single. It only climbed to number 47 on the Hot 100, but the charts, man, they don't capture what was really happening. This song quickly spread by word of mouth and going from dive bars to stadiums. It became the band's first true global anthem. And months later, Bon Scott passed away, turning Highway Hell into an unintended epitaph. Over time, the song transformed from a ruckus crowd pleaser into something so much bigger. It's been blasted through arena speakers, echoed in films like Iron Man 2, and became AC/DC's one-way ticket to rock immortality. It's got to be the greatest riff in classic rock history. Today, Highway to Hell is one of AC/DC's most streamed and requested tracks. It's got over 1.25 billion combined plays on Spotify and YouTube. One of the biggest songs in classic rock radio history. While plenty of bands have chased the devil, Highway to Hell burns the competition to a crisp. Courtesy of Fire and Brimstone. That relentless rhythm built on a simple 3-chord engine, it's just hellfire. And funny enough, a lot of parents thought this was, the song that proved that AC/DC was satanic. And the band, of course, played along. When AC/DC was accused of backmasking satanic messages on their records, Angus Young responded saying, "You didn't need to play the album backwards because we never hid the messages. We'd call an album Highway to Hell, and there it was right in front of them." I love that. All right, so for my next pick, I'm going with Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. Sweet Child of Mine wasn't supposed to be a hit at all. In fact, it started as a throwaway riff. We just talked about it a few weeks ago. Just Slash messing around during the jam session. Thought it sounded like a circus melody. But Axl Rose heard potential and he started writing lyrics about his then girlfriend, Erin Everly. From that seed, the band built an unexpected love anthem that became the crown jewel of Appetite for Destruction, the album that took over as the biggest selling debut ever from Boston. When Sweet Child dropped as the third single in June of '88, it went straight to number 1. It became GNR's only US chart topper. The song's unexpected tenderness cut through the wall of guitar fury that seemed to define Guns N' Roses at that point. Slash's opening riff became an instant classic, one of those guitar lines you can identify in less than half a second. The original music video, part live footage, part behind-the-scenes candor, that gave fans an unfiltered glimpse at a band poised for world domination. I've said it before, it made rock and roll dangerous again. Captured a fleeting moment of chaos and connection. Before the storms, before the egos, before the implosion. Just a band in the pocket playing something real. Today, the song's presence in pop culture, it's nearly omnipresent. From insurance commercials to the Marvel Universe, to wedding playlists, to viral TikToks, it's everywhere. It's been covered, mashed up, and turned into memes, yet it never loses its appeal.
Fighting the good fight for those who can't fight good.
What makes Sweet Child of Mine so enduring is that it doesn't sound calculated. It's a moment that somehow made it onto tape, a fluke that turned into a masterpiece. Slash's riff, it was a warm-up exercise for sure, but it hit a nerve with everyone. The band was just raw and unfiltered, and it became a universal anthem. All right, next is Hotel California by the Eagles.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
Coming into the mid-'70s, Eagles were already one of the biggest bands in America. They were riding high on a string of country rock hits. But in December of '76, they released Hotel California, an album that marked a bold shift in tone and ambition. They'd already been trying to push it a little further to the rock edge. This, of course, written by Don Felder, and then Don Henley and Glenn Frey coming in after he'd presented the melody. Haunting allegory. Henley called it a journey from innocence to experience, and you can feel that unraveling in every single line. What sounded like a dreamy California ballad turned out to be a surreal tale about illusion and excess. In 1977, it hit number 1 and won the Grammy for Record of the Year. Probably the most honored song of the ones I'm presenting.
Thinking to myself, this could be heaven and this could be hell.
The song became a centerpiece of American rock mythology with its closing line, "You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave," echoing through decades of late-night radio spins.
Check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
And that twin guitar solo from Felder and Joe Walsh, I go into much greater detail about it later on in our top solos of the 70s. But man, Hotel California became cultural shorthand for a beautiful trap. Referenced in everything from the Big Lebowski to hotel brochures, it's been covered across genres from reggae to classical. It's been dissected by fans and critics alike, whether it's a metaphor for fame, for addiction, or America itself. Everyone seems to bring their own ghost to that desert highway. Commercially, the song remains a juggernaut. It's been streamed over 2.5 billion times across YouTube and Spotify. It's sold more than 3 million digital downloads in the US, certified platinum, and still a staple of classic rock radio, one of the most played ever. It's one of the most enduring and enigmatic songs ever recorded. It's a mirage you simply can't stop chasing. All right, that's 10 picks. And before I show you the final tally based on streams and plays and all that criteria, I got a wild card for you. So Kansas wasn't exactly a household name when they headed into the studio to record Left Overture in 76. I mean, the band was teetering between their prog rock ambitions and a desire to break into the mainstream. And that balance came together perfectly. Carry On Wayward Son, a track the guitarist Kerry Livgren wrote last minute.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace.
With its a cappella intro, its thunderous guitar riffs, and searching lyrics, the song captured everything that made Kansas unique. It was a thinking man's headbanger, really. Released as a single in November of 76, Carry On Wayward Son reached number 11 on the Hot 100 and became Kansas' breakthrough hit.
Don't you cry no more.
Left Overture became the band's most successful album, certifying 5 times platinum. Carry On became its beating heart. Over time, the song transcended its era, embraced by fans of arena rock and classic rock radio combined.
Once I rose above the noise and confusion.
More recently, the song's found a massive second life thanks to its recurring use in the TV series Supernatural, where it became the unofficial theme for the Winchester brothers and their apocalyptic road trips. That second live has sparked a wave of renewed popularity, pushing the song past 500 million in total streams just since then. Its slow burn popularity has made it a multi-generational anthem, and today Carry On Wayward Son stands tall as a battle cry for every outsider on a quest for meaning. And you know what? For about 14 or 15 years, it was the most played song in classic rock radio history. But ultimately, based on streams, radio plays, pop culture footprint, and impact all these years later, these 11 rank the highest. So based on the numbers, here's how they rank. After combing through decades of stats and stories, it's time for the great debate. And back in the 80s and 90s, when classic rock officially became a radio format, the foundation was built on a holy trinity of airplay. Stairway to Heaven, Hotel California, and Carry On Wayward Son. These were the songs that ruled the FM dials and became the go-to tracks of classic rock nation. But you know what? In the past 15 years or so, something shifted. Songs like Bohemian Rhapsody, Don't Stop Believin', and Livin' on a Prayer, also More Than a Feeling, those started climbing the ranks. And now, thanks to digital platforms, they become even more accessible and even more popular than those original FM titans. All right, so after digging through a long list of criteria, I'm talking everything from chart performance to record sales to streaming numbers to radio play, pop culture appearances, TV and movies and all that, critical rankings, also considering less tangible categories like musical influence and lasting legacy. I'm giving you the final ranking in present time. The top 11 classic rock songs of all time. Coming in at number 11, it's the song with the most emotional guitar solo ever put to vinyl, Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. Next at number 10, I've got the song that opened the gates for AC/DC to take over the world, Highway to Hell. Coming in at number 9, I got Leonard Skinner with Southern Rock's national anthem, Sweet Home Alabama. Coming in at number 8, it's one of the most analyzed and played songs in classic rock history, Hotel California by the Eagles. Boasting one of the most recognizable riffs of all time, at number 7, I've got Guns N' Roses with Sweet Child of Mine. Coming in at number 6, it's Kansas and the Thinking Man's Rocker, Carry On Wayward Son. Halfway through the countdown at number 5, it's the working class anthem that everybody can relate to, Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. For my number 4 selection, I got the song that saved rock from disco, More Than a Feeling by Boston. And at number 3, it's Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin, still the most played song in classic rock radio history. Coming in at number 2, it's Journey with Don't Stop Believin', the best-selling digital rock song of the 20th century. And at number 1, I've got Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, the ultimate genre-bending anthem that keeps transcending generations. It's at number 1 3 times, and it has the most plays overall. If you want the exact numbers for each of these songs, let me know and I'll share them. So, looking at my own personal feeling about these 11 songs, it's got to be a 3-way battle between Boston, Zeppelin, and Queen for me. But you know what? In my opinion, Rush's Tom Sawyer is worthy of an argument with those 3.
Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
But now it's your turn. Which song do you think deserves the title of the greatest classic rock song of all time? Sound off below in the comments. Let's have a great discussion. What are your memories of these songs? What is the greatest song? Honestly, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, it's Bohemian Rhapsody, like I said. Those to me are the 2 contenders, the old versus the new. Queen's become kind of the new champion. Led Zeppelin was the old guard that ruled for a long time back then. They came out around the same time, about 5 years between them. But I'm going to say, if I'm pushed, I'm going to say Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven is the greatest classic rock song of all time. But then again, tomorrow might be Boston. Man, let's have a great discussion. What do you think? If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.